Hi, everybody. My name is Christian Vitron. I'm a local realtor here in Los Angeles, California, and I wanted to go over my housing market predictions for the year 2022. And if you would like to learn more about how I got these predictions, just hang around and I'll go over them on this video. So let's just start with what my predictions are. I expect most areas to see a slight uptick in their home values. Not as much as in 2021's uptick, but there should be a slight increase in home sales as well in 2022. I expect there to be less competition per home only because you see an uptick on homes on the market for sale, which will spread the buyers and the amount of offers they're making per home. Interest rates will rise through the year as I expect. The biggest increase would happen around summer. It's not going to exceed 4%, but you should see it come up from the around 3.17 we're at right now. If you'd like to learn more, like I said, continue watching. If not, I hope you have a great day. So with that, let me go over what I use to make these predictions. I use the sources from California Association of Realtor, the National Association of Realtors, local market data, and other trusted sources like Brian Buffini and other predictors that happen with the national government. So let's just look at the next 12 months, and hopefully this helps you understand what's happening and why these decisions can impact you if you're either planning to sell or buy in the upcoming future. So let's start from when the pandemic started. That was back in 2019 till today, and just look at that state, and then that's what we're going to use to predict 2022. So let's start with the current state of the economy. According to Nomo.com, which analyzes the G20 economies in the world, the U.S. unemployment rate was at a 2019 was at a value of 3.7 and shot up approximately 6.8% in 2020. In 2021, the rate dropped to 4.7%, and in 2022 is expected to be around 3.8%. Now that's back to a pre-pandemic level, which is great. Even though we see unemployment rates dropping to times that were previous to the pandemic, that doesn't tell the entire story of the labor market. When we look at how many people are currently employed in the United States, when we look back to 2019, there was 157 million people employed. In 2020, that number dropped to 147 million. That's about 10 million people that didn't have a job, and due to the pandemic. And in 2021, we saw a slight increase to 152 million. Now, indicators for 2022, we expect them to be around 159 million people. This is according to Statsia. That's great because it's going to be more than previous to the pandemic. But all this means is unemployment rate is dropping and more people are going into the workforce. In order to have a better idea of where interest rates are going, let's talk about the federal government, Jerome Powell, and what they announced, or what he announced. And it's going to be that they're going to slow down the purchases of bonds in 2022. When the federal government does this, historically, it has shown that interest rates go up. You could go to pbs.org, I'll add the information below, and you could kind of figure out how that works. Now, the local, now let's go to talk about the real estate housing market. Here are some stats of home buyers that I think you'll find interesting. And 87% of buyers finance their home purchase, with 13% being a typical down payment. We saw a 33% increase in refinancing activity compared to the first half of 2020. When we look at the last 3 years, interest rates were in 2019 3.94, dropped to 3.11 in 2020, and then 3.07 in 2021. 34% of all buyers were first-time buyers. 27% of buyers made a compromise on the price of the home that and 21% made a compromise on the condition of the home. Now let's look at the sellers. The national average of equity of home sellers had they had an average of 85,000% equity in their properties. with the median of the home selling at 100% of the final price. Majority of sellers were trading up with 46% to larger homes, 61% purchasing a new home, and 48% purchasing a more expensive home. The top reasons why people are selling are a desire to live closer to friends and family. Their home is either too small or their current neighborhood is becoming less desirable. When we look at regional trends in the West, we have the median home price increased to $450,000. The median buyer income increased to $112,500, and an uptick of single family and multifamily housing to 22.6%. I would love to hear your thoughts on the current state of the housing market and where you think it's going to go. If you'd like more information on your local housing market and you would like me to break it down for you, depending on what is important to you, just let me know and I'll be happy to provide that for you. Until next time, be safe, take care, and have a great day. Goodbye.